Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year and welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's top stories. One of the largest New Year's Day celebrations dazzled Southern Californians. NTD's Christina will bring us the highlights from this year's Rose Bowl parade. A major earthquake struck Japan. It triggered the highest level tsunami warning and evacuations in some coastal areas. The U.S. military is the smallest it has been since the end of the draft system. An Army veteran shares more on the ongoing recruitment challenge. First, let's kick off the year with some highlights from the Rose Bowl parade. It's one of the largest New Year's Day celebrations that dazzles with intricate floats and vibrant energy. NTD's Christina had the opportunity to attend the parade and has more from Pasadena, California.
We're here in Pasadena at the 135th annual New Year's Day Rose Parade, featuring floral floats, equestrian units, marching band, and much more. Let's take a look and see what this year has to offer. Thousands of spectators came out to Colorado Boulevard to see the beautifully crafted floats. This year's theme of the parade is celebrating a world of music, the universal language. Tournament of the Roses president Alex Agajanian said the theme was chosen because, in a world of different cultures, beliefs, hopes, and dreams, one language unites us all: music. The Grand Marshal at this year's parade is Grammy and Emmy Award-winning actress and singer Audra McDonald. Some musicians that performed were American Idol's Jordan Sparks, former Destiny's Child member Michelle Williams, Illinois a cappella group Straight No Chaser, and Emmy-nominated songwriter Alexander Starr. We spoke to several parade goers who told us what they enjoy most about the Rose Parade.
I think it's an up-and-close personal experience to be just close and see the expression on the faces of the bands and the people that put in all the hard work that are marching through this parade, that have practiced for countless hours. I'm always intrigued by the marching bands and the guys that carry those huge tubas and those big giant bass drums for 2 miles through this parade. It just amazes me.
The music, actually. So we're just really excited for anything that has music, just for her to dance to and kind of play around with. All the and see, that's what we're waiting for right now.
Each float has a very unique theme and competes to win awards based on their design, presentation, and entertainment value.
The favorite part is to see the innovative floats, the technology, and just the beautiful floral arrangements. And each float has does something for the community, and we here try to support that.
From dancing elements to the most beautiful flowers to huge alligators, the Rose Parade has it all. Happy New Year. Christina, NTD News, Pasadena.
Now let's take a look at other national headlines. A 7.5 magnitude earthquake hit western Japan today, triggering the highest level of tsunami warning and evacuations in some coastal areas. At least 4 people have died and at least 31 aftershocks have been recorded. In this video, items were seen falling off shelves in a store inside a train station as people attempted to take cover, while others ran out of the station with luggages in tow. The video also showed water leaking from the ceiling of the station. Eyewitnesses footage showed damage to roads and utility poles in Uchinada town in the Ishikawa prefecture. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said earlier that the authorities would respond to disasters in a way that puts human life first. Japanese government spokesperson Yoshimasa Hayashi said at an emergency press conference in Tokyo that so far no irregularities have been detected at nuclear power plants in Japan. The Israeli Defense Force says they don't see a quick end to the war in Gaza. Today, thousands of Israeli soldiers were shifted south of the Gaza Strip and reportedly into the city of Han Yunis. Local residents reported airstrikes and shelling in the area late Sunday. And as soon as the new year began, Hamas fired rockets at Israel, with at least 12 rockets intercepted. The IDF condemned the attack, citing 129 Israelis still being held by Hamas. Nearby in the Red Sea, shipping company Maersk confirmed today that a merchant ship was attacked by Houthi vessels on Saturday. The incident led to U.S. Navy helicopters sinking 3 Houthi boats, killing the attackers. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts is concerned about artificial intelligence and its threat to the judicial system. In his end-of-year report yesterday, he says while AI can increase access to legal information for people, especially those unable to hire a lawyer, he also sees dangers with the tech. Chief Justice Roberts also said AI could invade a person's privacy and dehumanize the law. The committee overseeing policy for the federal courts will soon examine AI's proper use in litigation. According to a filing unsealed Friday, former President Donald Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, said he used Google Bard, an AI chatbot, to generate case citations that his lawyer could use to assist in making the case to shorten his supervised release. In his report, Roberts didn't discuss disputes involving former President Trump or the court's new code of conduct. The Defense Department missed its 2023 recruitment goal by 41,000 people. Military recruitment has been an ongoing challenge. Officials and experts say it's a complex issue, but some improvements are being implemented. NTD's Jason Blair brings us more.
It's reported that the U.S. military is the smallest it's been since the draft system ended after the Vietnam War. Pentagon officials have spoken on the topic, citing many factors, like younger Americans are increasingly choosing more traditional career paths. Also, the vaccine mandate led to 8,000 troops being discharged for refusing it, with less than 1% showing interest in rejoining after it ended. Steve Bainan is a U.S. Army veteran and reporter for Military.com. He says the armed forces is facing an uphill recruiting battle right now.
It's an amalgamation of problems. One being the military has sort of lost some cultural relevancy. You don't see any big ticket military movies in theaters. You know, Black Hawk Down isn't playing right now. There's no major war per se. We're in a relative peacetime, and that's a good thing, but that also leaves service sort of out of the minds of young people.
Bainan also says the growing obesity epidemic and shortfalls in education are at the top of the list of issues.
There's actually quite a large pool of people who want to join the military, but they're frankly not eligible to enlist because they're either too overweight or they can't pass academic standards to join.
There have been steps taken to help improve those issues. The Army and Navy started new programs to help recruits who fell a little short in weight, academic, or technical standards to get qualified. In the past year, the Army was able to get 10,000 new recruits through the programs.
So that's 10,000 people who wouldn't have otherwise been able to join the Army that were able to join because of those classes. That's been considered a pretty huge success among most senior Army leaders.
Department of Defense officials have also cited a lack of patriotism among Generation Z. However, Bainan doesn't see it as being a major issue, saying other things hold more weight, pointing to things like the military not being as competitive as it used to be, with many private employers currently offering attractive pay and benefits. Jason Blair, NTD News.
Today is Public Domain Day, and now the earliest the form of Mickey Mouse is in the public domain after nearly a century. That and other works from the 1920s are open to all.
January 1st is Public Domain Day, which means works from 1927 are open to all. This includes Mickey Mouse. The earliest version of the famous mouse becomes public domain this year as its copyright expires. The 1928 short film Steamboat Willie, featuring both Mickey and Minnie Mouse, is now available for public use. U.S. law allows a copyright to be held for 95 years after Congress expanded it several times during Mickey's life. According to Jennifer Jenkins, a professor of law and director of Duke's Center for the Study of Public Domain, who writes an annual column for Public Domain Day, trademark rights cannot be used to block the freedoms that the expiration of copyright allows. The Steamboat Willie copyright expires in 2024, but Disney still retains trademark rights to use images of Mickey as well as the words Mickey Mouse in connection with a variety of products. Other works now open to the public include the final Sherlock Holmes stories, the German science fiction film Metropolis, and Alfred Hitchcock's first thriller.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. New year, new laws. We'll take a closer look at California, where new regulations are now in effect, from taxes to police to health care for illegal immigrants and more. Shen audiences in California say they're moved and uplifted. Find out more about the performing arts group that took to the stage in San Jose over the weekend. Owner of football team Carolina Panthers gets frustrated in home loss. Video captured the owner of the team throwing drink at a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. Each year, California Governor Gavin Newsom signs hundreds of laws passed by the state legislature. Most take effect January 1st the following year. But sometimes lawmakers will delay a law's effective date for a variety of reasons, including giving people more time to prepare for the new rules. Let's take a look at what laws will take effect starting today.
In 2023, the California legislature passed 1,046 bills. Governor Gavin Newsom signed 890 of those bills into law. Here's a look at some of the new laws Californians face on January 1st. Police can no longer ask, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" Instead, they must state the purpose of the stop before asking more questions. This applies to pedestrians. If a person is arrested, officials must use the name and pronouns that the arrestee provided in the mugshot. This is required if the person's mugshot will be posted on social media. Now, companies can't punish workers for failing drug tests. Lawmakers thought it was unfair for companies to punish workers who have used marijuana recently, especially since recreational marijuana was legalized in 2016. There are exceptions for construction workers and companies that must conduct drug tests as part of federal contracts. People who make more than $153,000 per year will have to pay a 1.1% tax on those wages. This is to fund a short-term disability program that pays people who cannot work because of a non-work-related illness, injury, or pregnancy. Abortion is now illegal in 14 states after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. But doctors and pharmacists in California who mail abortion pills to patients in those states will be shielded from prosecution or fines. Californian workers will receive a minimum of 5 days of sick leave annually instead of 3. They will accrue once they have been employed for 200 days. Foster families will be required to demonstrate their ability to meet the health and safety needs of children regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. It was one of several bills the legislature passed this year to expand protections for LGBTQ+ youth. The state now has a law that cracks down on fentanyl dealers. The new law increases penalties for dealers who possess more than 2.2 pounds of fentanyl. Some of the highest profile bills passed by the California legislature will not take effect until later. Fast food workers will get a minimum wage increase to $20 per hour on April 1st. Healthcare workers are scheduled to see the first increases of their minimum wage on June 1st. Laws requiring businesses to report their emissions and financial risks won't take effect until 2026. A law banning people from carrying guns in most public places was blocked by a federal judge just days before it was set to take effect.
Also starting today, California becomes the first state to offer health insurance to all illegal immigrants of all ages. They will qualify for Medi-Cal, the state's program for low-income people. There are over 700,000 immigrants living illegally in California. The storm in Southern California created huge waves of flooding areas near the coastline. Residents spent the weekend cleaning up.
Residents of Ventura, California cleaned up their neighborhoods on Friday, a day after massive waves slammed the coastline. Homes and businesses were hit with sand, salt water, and other ocean debris.
Well, the water came over the wall, and you probably saw from many of the videos that it washed down the street like it was a river. And of course, that turned and went into our complex and flooded it completely.
The waves snuck up on the surprised residents, sending ocean waters rushing into the community of Pierpont on Thursday. But locals say these conditions are rare.
We were all safe. Things were a little scary, but the passion I have for the ocean and I'm spending time in the water makes it so that I will put up for the tough times.
It's a beautiful place to live, and I come down here at least twice a day with my dog, and it's soothing, it's peaceful.
Workers spent the next morning stacking sandbags in the event that there could be more rain forecasted for the weekend, combined with strong winds and high tides.
We have high surf advisories every so often for our coastlines along Southern California. This one in particular came in with a much larger swell, and it impacted us during a very high tide. So because of that, we had the impacts of those waves being able to reach our surface streets and our communities a lot quicker.
Along the beachfront, the damage was visible with ocean debris blocking the porches of the now boarded up rooms of a hotel.
If you're looking for an uplifting experience to bring in the new year, we found just the one for you. Many theater goers have expressed how they were moved, inspired, and uplifted during the world tour of Shen Performing Arts. One of its 8 dance companies took the stage in California over the weekend. NTD's David Lam reports.
Shen Performing Arts performed in the theater behind me over the weekend. They have plans for San Francisco, Berkeley, and other areas on the West Coast as well. Let's hear what audience members have to say. Patrons watched Shen at the San Jose Center for the Performing Arts in California. It was the second time for this married couple.
The first time we were here, the opening music and the opening dance, I was crying. I mean, it was that beautiful, that stunning. To see it for the first time was amazing.
I've been fighting cancer for 3.5 years. So, you know, Shen just lifts my spirits. Anyone who hasn't seen it has to come and see it because it will make your heart sing.
Shen mission is to revive traditional Chinese culture and share it with the world. The New York-based company also sheds light on the ongoing persecution of faiths carried out by the Chinese government.
It was compelling, and it was also educational, for me to learn more about that as well. So it was really well done and really moving.
I was very emotional. I was tearing up during that piece. It was captivating in a way that I felt like I got a piece of understanding that I didn't have before.
The dancing was beautiful. I've worked with ballet companies before doing choreography, and to watch the dancers tell the stories through their body movement, through the pantomiming of their actions, to bring their stories to the stage in the balcony at the back so we could all see it. I loved it.
There's been some horrible experiences around the world, and I love the emphasis on kindness. You know, if we put more kindness out, the world would be a better place. And I think that's really valuable and really important to share.
David Lam, NTD News, San Jose, California.
In addition to San Francisco, other Shen companies will be performing in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Dayton, Ohio, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Austin, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia this week. For more information, please visit shenyun.com. Now shifting our focus to some gridiron drama. A startling incident involving Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper has sent shockwaves through the sports world. NTD's Carlos Reyes has more on the story.
During Sunday's 26-0 defeat to the Jacksonville Jaguars, Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper was captured on video seemingly hurling a drink towards Jaguars fans from his open-air suite at Everbank Stadium. The video surfaced on social media on the same day. This incident unfolded roughly 3 minutes before the game's end, following an interception by quarterback Bryce Young. Young, frustrated after an early game sack, threw a tablet on the sideline. It's safe to say emotions were running high throughout the entire organization. When approached for a comment, a Panthers spokesperson chose not to respond. NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy acknowledged the video, stating the league is aware but has no further comment at this time. This event marked the end of Carolina's 342-game streak dating back to 2002 without being shut out. On the same day, the Panthers, with a 2-14 record, solidified having the NFL's worst record, granting the Chicago Bears, holding Carolina's pick, the top selection in the 2024 draft. In a bold move last April, Carolina traded 2 first-round picks and top receiver DJ Moore to the Bears to move up from 9th to 1st and select Young. Despite Tepper's post-draft optimism about Young leading the Panthers to Super Bowls, things have gone awry. Young ranks among the NFL's statistically worst quarterbacks. The Panthers have been guaranteed their 6th consecutive losing season since Tepper's $2.175 billion acquisition in 2018. Tepper, who has a history of midseason coaching changes, fired Frank Reich after a 1-10 start this season and Matt Rule after a 1-4 start last season. Carlos Reyes, NTD News.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.